Hey everybody, welcome to Mountain in the Mist. Today we are harvesting honey here on the homestead, and we wanted to bring you all along to see how that process is done. The first step in our process here is to get the frames of honey out of the beehives. We do that manually, frame by frame, instead of taking whole boxes at a time. So let's crack into this hive and see how the frames look. I'm gonna stop talking so you can hear how cool the bees sound while we're in there. So this is the first box we're gonna be taking honey out of. We always take the honey in the order that it comes in. So I'm gonna go through this box, checking frame by frame and looking for frames of honey that are ripe. And I'm gonna show you what I mean by ripe here in a second. So let's start to pull some frames out. Perfect, this is what I wanna see. So the very first frame I pulled out is ripe. So you can see the frame is filled pretty much edge to edge with honey, and there's a nice layer of wax on the top, capping it. And if we flip the frame over, the same is true of the other side. So this frame is totally ready for harvest. What we need to do is get the bees off, which I'm gonna do with a quick tap or two here. Gets most of the bees off, and we can put this in our collection box. Now I'm going to keep going through frame by frame and pulling out the ones that are ready for harvest. So we went through and pulled out all of the frames that were ready for harvest. We're going to go ahead and put this box of frames that we already harvested that are still kind of coated in honey back on top and let the bees clean it up. And then we're going to close this hive up and move on to the next. We'll do the same thing in this hive here. This box looks like it's full of good honey. If you've got bees and you don't have a hive tool like this with a hook, it'll change your life. So you can see we got a wagon full of honey here out of these hives, about 30 or so frames. Now we're gonna take them up to the processing room and show you what we do next. Now that we've got all the frames into our processing room, we're gonna show you guys how we get the honey out of the frame and one step closer to a jar. So first what we do is we take this frame of capped honey and we need to get the caps off. So I use a nice long thin knife, like a fillet knife. And I just try and basically fillet the wax caps off. When it all goes well, it's very satisfying. You can see that whole side now is uncapped. We'll flip it around to do the other side and bring you all in a little bit closer here so you get a better view. Same thing, I'm just going to try and fillet these wax caps off. Sometimes the caps don't fall off as easy as they did on the first side. You kind of have to slide them down. Perfect. Now that we've got the caps all removed from this frame, we're going to go ahead and put it in our extractor. Our extractor holds 4 frames, so I'm going to go ahead and take the cappings off of 4 frames and put them in the extractor, and then show you all the next step. We've got 4 frames loaded up with the wax caps removed, and we're ready to spin. All right, spun it for 15 or 20 seconds. Let's see if that was enough to get all of the honey out. Sure enough, that side is totally empty. You can see all the cells, nothing in them. So we'll flip it over and empty this side out now. Let's spin the other side out. All right, now these frames should be empty. You spun both sides out pretty good. Oh yeah, that feels empty. And the little bit of honey that's left on here we'll put back in the hive for the bees. All right, we've got a lot more to do. One of the big benefits to spinning the honey out with this method is that it leaves most of the honeycomb intact for the bees to easily refill later this season or next season. They don't have to go through all the work of building that comb back up again. We have extracted enough frames to fill our extractor as full as we can. Now we're going to move the honey into our bottling buckets. We have a fine mesh bag placed on top of the bottling bucket. That's the only filtration we do of our honey to get out any bee body parts or pieces of debris that might have made their way in there. So let's open the floodgate and let the honey flow. This is the other type of honey we harvest out of our hives. This is for making our cut comb honey. So I'm going to go ahead and show you all how we do that. We set it up on this queen excluder grate so that the honey can drip through when we cut it. And then we cut it out of the frame. And then we can just lift it off. Once we've got it out of the frame like this, we'll cut it into squares that fit into our cut comb boxes. Now we'll work to separate all these pieces so that the honey can drain freely. Break off any little chunks that came off. And we'll take this small piece and use it for chunk honey later. Now we'll just go ahead and let those drain. These pieces of cut comb have been draining for a few minutes after we cut them. So now we're going to go ahead and put them in the boxes. Well, we've finished our honey harvest for the day. We're going to let all the honey drain out of our extractor into the bucket through that bag. We let the bucket sit overnight to help the air settle out of the honey and any little extra bits of wax that might have gotten in there float up to the top. And tomorrow we'll come in and put the honey in jars. We'll see you then. Welcome back, everybody. It's been about 24 hours. We've had the honey sitting in this bucket here. Now we're going to go ahead and jar it up. Today we're filling some of these chunk honey jars. So they've already got 4 ounces of cut comb honey in them. We're going to put 16 ounces of this golden delicious liquid honey in them. The first thing I'll do is zero the jar out and then open the floodgates and let the honey flow. And on to the next jar, just like that. This stuff is super light in color, early season honey, a lot of maple nectar in it, a lot of apple, plum, other fruit tree nectar. And this is what it looks like, the chunk honey with the cut comb pieces floating in the liquid. Really popular item as a gift, or if you're first trying cut comb honey and don't want to commit to a whole piece. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and fill the rest of these jars and a whole bunch more up. We got about 10 gallons of honey to package today. So we're going to go ahead and do that. If you want to get yourself some honey, go ahead and check out our website, mountaininthemist.com. You can order all of our different honey types there. Thanks for coming along as we processed honey today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe for more. Comment down below if you've ever been in a beehive or are interested in going into one. We offer a beekeeping experience here at the Homestead. So if you're interested, be sure to check that out. See you guys next time.